Good afternoon, it's meteorologist Michael Fecka. Welcome back to the 2:30 afternoon news and weather stream we do here every day, Monday through Friday. We start off with a look at our forecast and we'll transition over to your top news headlines for the day. So stick around through the whole thing to get your fill of news and weather, but without further ado, let's get started here with that forecast. So as we go through the rest of the day today, we are going to be tracking out more sunshine. So we are dry once again for our Friday, and it looks like we'll likely stay dry here, or at least on the quieter side, through this weekend and into much of next week. We have very little to almost no rain chances for the next 7 days. So we're going to stay on the drier side, and then we're also going to be getting hotter out there. You may have stepped outside and noticed it certainly feels like summer once again. We just enjoyed, the last week and a half of temperatures that were much cooler, or at least around average, feeling a little bit like fall. And now we've just kind of been catapulted right back into the dog days of summer. But right now it's 86 degrees here in Evansville, 89 there in Henderson. We've already cracked 90 to our south, Madisonville at 91 and around 92 there in Greenville, typically our warmer spots of the day. But looking at our satellite and radar, our setup in general, we have this ridge of high pressure pretty much blocking any sort of inclement weather from moving in from the west. So everywhere east of the Mississippi River is pretty much dry out there due to this high pressure system. And then we've got this big area of general low pressure that's kind of building over the mountain west. And that is going to continue to provide some scattered shower and thunderstorm chances through areas like Colorado, Wyoming, Nebraska into the northern plains in general. That's what they're going to be expecting, but this high pressure system to our east is going to block that from making an impact on us. So zooming in, not tracking out anything, we barely even have a cloud in the sky out there. Now we will still see a few clouds bubble up as just during the heating of the day, and there may be a sprinkle that pops up out of that, but again, not expecting much in the way of precipitation at all. We'll stay dry through tonight, Friday night football, you'll be good to go. We'll stay clear with temperatures dropping out of the 70s and down into the 60s. But it is still going to be on the warmer side for at least kickoff. So still maybe bringing your short sleeves and shorts, but packing maybe a long sleeve or a sweatshirt as you get later on into the night. We'll drop down into the 70s, maybe a bit cooler out there. Just to be prepared, maybe have a long sleeve. But looking at your weekend forecast, definitely won't be needing any sort of warmth from your clothes. We'll have plenty of that with just the air outside. 92 by Saturday, 94 by the time we get into Sunday. And you'll see very little rain chances are expected, but there is still that spot shower chance possible through this weekend, especially as we get overnight Saturday into Sunday morning. It looks like there would be perhaps a few raindrops. But here's a look at our future radar starting from this evening. We'll stay quiet and clear overnight tonight, no issues, and that'll lead us into another great day for our Saturday, mostly sunny skies, and then that will stay quiet. We could still see maybe a spot shower or two pop up primarily to the west of the tri-state, but it's as we get into the overnight hours, it looks like there's going to be a decaying batch of showers or thunderstorms to our north that don't really make it into the tri-state. However, some lingering sprinkles, some of its dying breath may be able to produce some light rainfall here overnight into early Sunday morning. But then once that clears out of here, we really don't have much of an opportunity for rain beyond that. And then we're also going to be heating up. So looking at our temperature trend, you can see we've got that big old red bullseye sitting over the Ohio River Valley and Mississippi River valleys there, indicating much above average temperatures are expected. And that's certainly the case. Our average high sitting around 83, but we're already well above that at this hour, and we'll likely be above that as we go through the weekend, almost 10 degrees or more by the time we get into Monday, topping out at around 95 for the start of the work week. Now, while we're going to be warming up into the 90s, the one positive side of this is that it doesn't look like the humidity is going to be as up to par as what we're used to. So the last time we were dealing with temperatures in the 90s, it was back in the beginning of August and even into July, where those dew points were up into that muggy and stifling category. And then that made those heat index values shoot all the way up into the triple digits, which is where you start to get some heat-related sickness concerns. But because the humidity is going to stay relatively low, we don't really have much of a heat index value to talk about there. So that's one good news. At least it won't be hot and sticky. It's going to be a little bit more of a drier heat. Now, because it is a drier heat, we are outlooked for right around average precipitation, but keep in mind this time of year is some of the driest time here in the tri-state. So average precipitation really doesn't mean much at all. So still expect it to stay dry, and that also continues to worsen the drought, and that has also prompted many counties here to start issuing burn bans. All the areas you see in red is where there is a countywide burn ban currently in place. So that is where you want to be careful about burning anything outdoors that could easily lead to something out of control. So you don't want to do that. But looking at our rainfall forecast for the next 7 days, over the course of this week, you could see we maybe pick up a few hundredths of an inch, but that is about it. Most of us staying almost entirely dry through the next 7 days. And here's a look at our current drought monitor. This updates every Thursday, so that moderate drought was expanded out of western Kentucky, and it does include much of southern Illinois now, and there's even now this area of severe drought being observed just to the west of the tri-state. So with conditions continuing to heat up and stay dry, drought will likely worsen out there. But here's a look at the longer range European model just to give you an outlook of what we can expect for the week ahead. There's that chance for a decaying shower or two overnight into early Sunday morning, but that'll be about it as we go through much of the work week. We stay dry with high pressure just continuing to ridge in from the east, and our next best chance for showers doesn't look like it maybe arrives until next weekend. We've got some green showing up there on the map, but again, I don't really put much faith into cold fronts that far out in advance. So there's a look at your 7-day forecast. In general, a pretty quiet weather pattern here, a spot shower or two possible overnight Saturday into Sunday morning. That'll be our best chance for rain for quite some time. Temperatures continue to climb up into the mid-90s through the beginning of the work week and then gradually start to come down as we go through the end of next week. So that is all I've got here for the forecast portion of our afternoon streaming show. But again, don't go anywhere. We've got Robinson here. He's going to talk about your news headlines for the afternoon.
Stay informed on your local news and weather throughout the day by watching the 14 First Alert streaming shows. At 8:30 a.m., get your First Alert forecast to plan the day ahead and catch up on the news that happened overnight with the 14 News Sunrise team. In the afternoon, get the latest headlines, forecasts, and a preview of the stories we're working on with the 14 First Alert streaming show at 2:30. And get an in-depth look at the 14 First Alert forecast so you're ready for the next big thing with the 14 First Alert weather show at 9 p.m. Watch the 14 First Alert streaming show that fits your schedule and works best for you. Streaming on your phone by downloading the 14 News app and the 14 First Alert weather app. On your smart TV by using the 14 News streaming app. And stream anytime on Facebook, YouTube, or on 14news.com. Stay connected and stay informed by watching the 14 First Alert streaming shows on your favorite streaming devices. Live from 14 News, this is a 14 Digital News Desk update.
Hello everyone, and thank you for joining us for our afternoon streaming show. I am Robinson Miles. So of course today on this finest of Fridays, there is a lot going on. So we're going to go ahead and jump right in. Now for our first headline today, we have a bit of an update on something that we've been following for some time now. So let me give you guys a look on this one. So following on that accidental shooting that happened on Cherry Street last week. Now, we are learning more about how police connected an Evansville mother to that shooting. Now, this, of course, happened last week at a home on East Cherry Street. Investigators say 14-year-old Javionte Cox was accidentally shot by another teen who thought the gun was unloaded. Now, Cox died on the scene. Officials say cell phone records show the shooter's mom, 36-year-old Rachel Banks, bought the gun used in the shooting for her son, and several videos showed him with the weapon. Police say Banks was also helping him to buy marijuana. She's facing several charges, including contributing to the delinquency of a minor and reckless homicide. Her son was also charged with reckless homicide. Now, looking elsewhere around the tri-state, we have a bit of a news story, something interesting coming out of Jasper. We're learning the Jasper police are making an adjustment in their department related to how they approach drug enforcement and drug crimes. Now, they say they're making that adjustment in their department in the hope of making Jasper, of course, a safer place. Now, the police department temporarily assigned an officer to work exclusively on drug issues in the community. Now, over the last month, Patrolman Logan Jones seized more than 100 THC vape pens, which police officials say had an extremely high level of 86.6%. Jones says he's also seized meth, marijuana, and mushrooms since he took the role. Now, Leslie Chapman went with Jasper police officials to learn more. And so, of course, we're going to be learning a bit more from her as well a little bit later on tonight. So those, of course, are the big headlines. If we have our eyes forward to this evening, we're also going to have Touchdown Live. So it's going to be a very busy night here at 14 News. Of course, all of these stories and a lot more detail in our evening shows at 14 News at 4, 5, and 6. And then, of course, ahead at 14 News at 10, we'll have everything as well, along with Touchdown Live for this week. So again, thank you so much for joining us. Have a wonderful day.